Hey everyone, this is Sergio with the RideShare Guy. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Wheel series. Look, we present a very balanced view of the gig economy. And is everything great in the gig economy? Probably not. Are there things to be fixed? Absolutely. But there are very, very, very interesting and great parts of the gig economy for people such as Josh that I'm interviewing today. He is working on his higher education through Uber. He is working towards his plan B, but I'm going to shut up and give the floor to Josh and have him introduce himself, how long he's been in the gig world, what he did before, and we'll get right into how Uber is affording him actually to go to Arizona State University online. So welcome, Josh.
Thank you, Sergio. Thank you so much. So a little bit about myself. I was a student. I graduated from a four-year university. When I graduated, I was an older student, kind of a long life story. But when I graduated, I really wanted to go to graduate school and or law school. But I didn't really have good direction. I probably didn't take advantage as much as I should have of the advising at the school in terms of helping me do that. I also sort of wasn't financially set to take a break, and I hadn't planned it correctly, but I really wanted to do that. Kind of just been working side work before I started Uber. And this side work enabled me to study on my own and figure out, okay, do I really want to do this PhD or what? In about 2019, I purchased a car, and so I signed up for Uber. I didn't really know what I was doing, and it signed me up for the Uber Eats. But once in a while, I did it a little bit. But then when the coronavirus hit, for whatever reason, I quit my job, and I started doing. Then I just did Uber, and I did just Uber Eats, so I wouldn't, be coronavirus wasn't in my face as that much, and I was making about $45 an hour, doing 3 deliveries an hour in Santa Barbara, just going from, driving a mile and a half, 2 miles, picking up, dropping off 2 miles away. And I was making $15 a delivery. So it was like a $5 Uber bonus if you did the streak or whatever it was called, plus tips usually. And then so it came out to about $15 a delivery. And I mean, I was making more money than my previous job working full time. And at Uber, I was only working between 20 and 25 hours a week. And I was only working on the weekends. I'd work maybe a little Thursday night, maybe Friday night, Saturday night, and a little Sunday night. And that was it. That was all the work I did. I had plenty of extra money to spend it on, other things. As everybody knows, the slowdown after they cut off the unemployment, all the drivers came back, and it's been a lot harder. But I've still been doing it. Still been doing Uber. I mean, the advantage to me of doing Uber has been sort of the flexibility to sort of drive when I want, work when I want, not be in a 9 to 5, and sort of study what I want. As I was doing so many Uber rides during the Uber Eats deliveries during the coronavirus, I started racking up numbers. I started realizing, hey, I could actually get this free Arizona State University bachelor's. And so I put in extra time, did more deliveries, and shot for starting my bachelor's in spring of 2022. So just this past spring. I got it admitted to Arizona State University a few days into the beginning of the start of the semester. So, I just said, okay, I'll just take one class. And I took Mandarin Chinese, which was great. And this summer I took a national security class and a history of the United States military class. This fall I'm in a macroeconomics class, an honors class, which I'll talk about, and a diplomacy class, which is taught by a retired ambassador. And we basically act as if we're a U.S. embassy in a foreign country.
Okay, so before we get too far, I know there's many things we're going to talk about, but let's just go backwards a little bit, right? So tell us a little bit. I mean, you had racked up enough trips or rides or deliveries under your belt to be able to get to the threshold that Uber says you have to get to before you can apply for ASU online, right? So tell us a little bit about the actual process. How did that work out? Was it an easy process? Was it something that you really had to work hard on? Tell us a little bit about the process in itself.
Actually, quite easy. Once you hit, so it used to be 3,000, you were required to do 3,000 Uber Eats, deliveries, or rides. Now they've lowered it to 2,000, and those are 2,000 lifetime rides or deliveries. There's also a couple of other requirements, like your rating has to be above a certain rating. You basically that you're not a bad driver to people. Also, you have to be at a gold level, minimum gold level. You have to maintain that gold level throughout your time at Arizona State University. There is leeway. If you fall below, then they give you, I think, 3 months leeway, basically a quarter leeway to catch back up. But the process itself was, you just completed let's say 3,000 rides. Then it gives you a notification saying, congrats, you completed 3,000. You go online to Uber, I think it's uber.asu.edu, and then you fill out the form there, which is just saying, hey, I'd like to take part in this program. It's a very easy, simple form to fill out. You fill it out, and then you get contacted, I believe, by an admissions advisor. Basically, if somebody helps you, walk you through the whole process. They're there just to help you be successful in getting into Arizona State University. So, I mean, you do have to do certain things, like you do have to apply, like it is a college, but Uber does cover the application fee, for example. Also, if your GPA is not too good, I believe Uber has a program where they will accept you into sort of a starting program. And then if you get a good enough GPA, you could move into a regular major. So you do have to also fill out a FAFSA, which is like federal financial aid document, which also is not that complicated, but they want to know that, because maybe the federal government will provide some grants and Uber only wants to pay your tuition after the federal government has already paid. But basically you go into Uber with zero tuition costs. The only cost, so overall, I would say that the admission process is not bad at all. It's actually, I'm going to say, easy. There are steps, there is work you'll have to do in terms of the federal financial aid application, the college application. They ask you, a lot of information. They want your transcripts and things like that.
Right. I mean, well, look, nothing is free in life, right? I mean, you have to give something to receive something, and you did enough trips to be able to do this, right? Now that you've done the application process, you've gone through it, and you got accepted, obviously, and you were talking a little bit about your classes. Give us a little overview of, obviously, you went to Santa Barbara, right? UC Santa Barbara. And you had an experience as a student on campus, right? And then now you have an experience as an online student. Like, give us a little bit about because a lot of people may think that an online school is a watered down version of the actual school, but let's just, talk a little bit about that.
I mean, like I was told by 2 UC Santa Barbara professors that, beware of Arizona State University online. It's they turned it into kind of a money-making thing where they're, getting more numbers to get online students or whatever. So my experience has been that the Arizona State University online classes are at least as good and in some ways better than my UC Santa Barbara classes. So far, I mean, I've had like a world-class, excellent professor in national security. Just last week, we did a 2.5-hour class with a retired general and 3 retired ambassadors where they taught leadership. So, that's kind of business about, so in my experience, what an advantage of being in Arizona State University is it's asynchronous, which means most classes, you don't have to be there at a certain time. You'll go online, you'll log in and you'll watch a lecture, you'll do homework, you'll take quizzes, but that allows you the freedom to sort of do your own things on your own time, but you'll have like set times when you're supposed to take a quiz within 72 hours or things like that. So overall,
Yeah. So you're taking your classes. How long you been an online student now?
since I think it was January of 2023.
Okay. So, you've been there for a while, so your experience obviously is a good one, right? Are you still doing gig work? Are you still delivering? Obviously, as you said, is being synchronous is giving you the flexibility and the freedom to still earn some money on the apps, right? Are you still doing it? Are you still delivering it? Or do you have to keep those ratings and the numbers of trips that you completed before you were accepted? Do you have to keep certain numbers to continue for Uber to pay for this?
Yeah. So two things. One is you do have to keep a gold rating, which means you have to do a 600. I think you have to have 600 points. Now, if you follow, like in Santa Barbara, you could get 3 points per ride during certain times when it's busy during the weekend. So if you just do those rides and you're only doing 200 like deliveries or trips over, I think it's a 3 or 4, 3 month.
It's a quarterly number. Yeah.
So actually that's not hard at all.
Yeah.
So, now besides that, I do still do it to make money. It does slow down in Santa Barbara during the summer because students, I would say, make up 2/3 of the rides that I give. Because mostly I drive during the weekends when students are at the bars and, things like that. So it has slowed down. I've done more like, rides to like LAX, Los Angeles Airport, to make up.
Yeah. So you got the flexibility, you got the freedom, you're taking advantage of this program to its full extent, it seems like to me. And there is a couple of other things that I wanted to ask you about. I mean, like this is sounding like an Uber infomercial, but look, here's Josh. Okay. He took advantage of a program that exists that not too many people talk about, which I wanted to find somebody to talk about this. Obviously it's helping Josh. Now, as easy as it was for you to apply and get accepted, and, obviously you had to do some legwork. Tell us, what your advice would be to other drivers who, look, age is not about, it's not about age, right? Josh is not 20 years old. I'm assuming he's not. So this program exists for 41. Everybody who wants to, continue their higher education, right? So tell us, give other drivers or our viewers some advice that, do you think a lot of people are taking advantage of this, or do you know a lot of other people that are going to ASU online in your area?
Well, anecdotally, because most of the rides I do are not at the airport, at the Santa Barbara airport, where most of the drivers hang out, but I did hang out with them for a while. And anecdotally, I talked with a few people and I said, hey, why don't you take advantage of this program? And they're like, oh, well, I was like, well, what about they're like, I'm too old, or I'm like, well, what about your like grandchild or a relative? You could give it to them. I'm like, this is an amazing program. Uber is paying, you're getting about $5,000 of tuition paid every semester. Every semester you could do summer as well. You could do up to 18 credits per semester or one. You don't have to, you could take as much or as little as you want. Each credit, ASU charges, Arizona State University charges, I think it's about $500 per credit. Okay. So this is a real like advantage to people. And yeah, I'm 41 years old. Long life story, but people should not be scared. It's not that hard to get into Arizona State University's online program. They have paths to get in if you have had academic challenges in the past. They even have like non-degree programs, which I'm not that familiar with. I think certificates and things like that, a language to learn English, to learn languages or something like that. So I think there's not enough Uber drivers who are taking advantage of this. It's an amazing, amazing program. I think so far they've had about 700 graduates of Arizona State University bachelor program. But I would recommend a lot more drivers take advantage of this, including take advantage of their honors program, which I know we'll talk about. But
yeah, we're going to talk about that shortly. But one thing that you hit upon that I think I need to mention, this program is not for the individual who is driving and doing the trips. This is a transferable situation, right? So if, let's say, I am driving, I can transfer my the trip credits towards my, let's say, daughter or son going to the ASU online program. Is that correct? Is that what your understanding is?
100%. Just the driver needs to still keep the gold rating, but other than that, everything is the same. It's very easy to transfer the program.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, let's talk a little bit about that. So this is a message to Uber. I know Uber watches these things. So, Josh has an idea. Uber, okay, and I know you guys are going to watch this, and I'm going to give the floor to Josh before I make a fool out of myself and have him explain what he thinks of this next level support should be, because he told me earlier during our conversation that Starbucks, out of all companies, who also has, or as a company, they have supported an ASU online education program, just like Uber has. And Starbucks is paying for this program, and it's a minuscule part of the $5,000 Uber is putting up every semester. So I'm going to shut up. I'm going to give the floor to Josh and have him explain what his thoughts are about this honors program and what he thinks Uber should be doing.
Yeah, so Sergio, I reached out to you because I was trying to find a contact in Uber. We know as a driver, we could get help if we have an issue with the delivery or with the ride, but we don't know how we contact the higher ups. So I said, let me reach out to Sergio. And Sergio didn't say, hey, I'll help you reach out to the higher ups, but then he reached out to me some while later and said, hey, you want to come talk about your experience at Arizona State University? And now there's an opportunity for me to let Uber know about this program that I think they should be taking advantage of. So what happens is Uber started their program in 2018. They've had about 700 graduates since then. Since that time, when Uber started, Arizona State University, who's for a long time had an honors college, during the coronavirus, they made the honors college also online so that students could take advantage of it. Right now, there's only 188 students in the online honors program in total in the Arizona State University online program, honors program. And what I'm proposing to Uber is they do the same thing that Starbucks did. So Starbucks, a student came to Starbucks and said to them, hey, you're paying for my tuition. Why don't you cover the small fee that the honors college charges on top of the tuition? So that I could go to the honors college. And I'm proposing to Uber, I'm the student coming to Uber now and saying, hey, could you please cover that minuscule fee? Because then Uber can then say, hey, because the main point of the honors college is to help students go to graduate school, help them to get PhDs, help them to go to medical school, help them to go to law school. About 30 or 40% of the students who go through the honors college go to graduate law and medical school. So, this is a great program where, Uber can say, not only do we help students get their bachelor's, but we're also helping students go on to their PhDs, law school and medical school. In fact, the honors college not only does that, but they help students apply to national scholarships like Fulbright scholarships, Marshall scholarships, the scholarships that the Rhodes scholarships, all those scholarships, the honors college helps you. So how does it work? So Uber right now, it costs Uber or whatever about $5,000 in tuition per semester. The honors college fee, if the student is full-time, is $1,000 per semester. But if you look at the numbers, you compare Starbucks numbers, only at a maximum, only like 1.5% of Starbucks students are in the honors college, and Starbucks is paying for the honors fee. Now, the honors fee costs Starbucks and would cost Uber anywhere from about 6.5% to about 16.5% additional cost per credit. So in total, if you actually calculate this out, this is costing Starbucks at a maximum 0.3% additional cost per year to cover this Barrett College, this honors fee. So I'm proposing to Uber, and I'm asking Uber, please, for the good of the students, all the students that come after me, and myself included, please cover this honors college fee so that you could help students go off and have great careers and great lives and contribute back to the community.
Yeah.
I mean,
So let me cut you off right here for a second. So Uber, I know you're watching this, and this is what's going to happen. So Josh put out his request kindly, and I know for a fact, Josh, that Uber is all about data. Okay, nothing but data. They are the most data-centric company in the universe. Everything is numbers to them. You laid out your case so perfectly, including all the numbers and all the data, that I don't think they're going to turn this down. If they do turn this down, I think it'll be bad PR to start with. But you presented your case so beautifully that you know who I'm talking about here. So I think we need to pursue Josh's request seriously, and he couldn't have presented it better than probably definitely better than me. But he had his facts together, he had his numbers together. So we have a few remaining minutes, Josh. Give some advice in closing to all the people who are going to watch this in the thousands. Why are they shying away? Because you said it's 700 graduates since 2018 when the program, or 19, right? When the program started. Why do you think the numbers are so low? Why do you think more people are not taking advantage of this?
I think it's a few things. I think, well, for example, like the people I talked, well, there's a few obstacles. I think people are scared. One of, oh my gosh, school is going to be hard. Well, they offer you free tutoring. They offer you free tutoring at the school, online tutoring. Though they might say, oh, and also you don't have to take a full load. You could take one class. You could start off. In fact, they do a class, and it's just an orientation class. It's a full semester where they just, or actually it's less than a full semester, but they go through the whole online system, how to maneuver through the online system. So I think people are nervous, probably academically. They want to make sure that they're gonna like survive. And so my advice would be, you don't have to start off with a lot. You could start off with the easiest class possible, and you could take it slow. There's also a lot of advisors. ASU, Arizona State University, is #1 for innovation, and I'm not sure 100% why, but to me, when I look at their online program, it's very well done. And so to me, it seems like that's why they got that award. They're ahead of Harvard, Stanford, MIT for innovation. And so, the online program is made. They have special advisors to help you through the admissions process. Once you get in, they have something called a success coach, which is besides your regular academic advisors to help you through the academic, they have a coach just to help you make sure you're successful in the college. So I think students might be academically scared. They might be scared just because academia itself is kind of it's an unknown beast unless you're in it. It's like anything new. It's like Uber. When you're new at it, you don't understand it till you do it for a while. Yeah. So I think people should not be scared of that at all. And, yeah.
Yeah, I think, I couldn't have said better myself. So obviously we have time constraints doing these interviews, but we are going to keep in touch with Josh. Let's see Uber, turns the favor in like Starbucks did and help students like Josh who want to pursue their careers in whatever field it may be at a much higher level, whether it be at a graduate level or the PhD level. I think we're going to get a positive result out of this, Chuck. Josh, because I am very, very interested in what Uber's response is going to be, and you laid out your case beautifully. So I want to thank you for doing this with me. I want to thank you for showing up on Behind the Wheel series. We are going to follow up with Uber, obviously, and we're also going to follow up with Josh on this matter. Again, I have 1 minute left, so the floor is yours. But I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing this, and I think you're going to open a lot of eyes for other people who may want to take advantage of this program.
Okay, Sergio, thank you so much for having me. And I have 3 messages. One is thank you to Uber for doing this program. I'm not being paid for by Uber. Uber doesn't know I'm doing this interview. Secondly, it's an excellent program. Secondly, I would encourage, I think more and more drivers should do this program. And I hope that this interview will encourage more people. And in fact, I'll talk to Sergio afterwards. If students need help, maybe I'll leave my contact with Sergio and we could think, or maybe I'll do a follow-on interview or something where students can contact me. And lastly, I would like to say to Uber themselves, Uber, you made it easier for students to get their degree by offering this tuition paid for. I'm asking you to extend that to let people also help people do the honors college so that pay for honors college so that more honors students will do this program. Because I know Uber students who did not take advantage of this because of the fee.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Again, Chuck, I have one last thing that I want to add here. This is all about the gig economy. Our channel is all about the gig economy, right? And are there good parts of the gig economy? Well, if this is not an example of the good part of the gig economy, I don't know what is. Because certainly there are things to fix, but this, I think, is an underutilized program. And hopefully this will change a lot of minds, Josh. And again, I want to thank you. We will post this and we will be in touch. Let's see what Uber says.
Thank you so much, Sergio.